My beloved child, there have been seasons when you lived with the mindset of someone who merely hoped to survive rather than expecting to receive. You saw blessings upon the lives of others and rejoiced for them. Yet deep within your heart, you quietly believed that perhaps such good things were not meant for you. You became accustomed to giving the best portion to others. You became accustomed to lowering your own worth. There were even times when you thought that lack, being overlooked, or prolonged losses were simply the portion of life you had to accept. But today, I want you to change the way you see this. I did not create you to live under the burden of inferiority. I did not call you to walk with the mindset of someone who always believes they are unworthy. I call you my beloved child. I call you chosen, and what I have prepared for you does not come from your own merits, but from my love and my grace. My child, there are words that have clung to your mind for many years. Perhaps someone once made you feel that you were not good enough. Perhaps past failures made you think that you must always stand behind others. Perhaps repeated rejections created a silent scar within your heart. But I want you to know that those voices are not the final voice. The final voice belongs to me, and I declare that you are not the product of past mistakes. You are not the sum of your falls. You are not what others once judged you to be. You are a creation I formed in a wondrous way. As it is written in the Psalms, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. This means that your worth is established by the one who created you, not by the circumstances surrounding you. There are people who have lived too long in the room of doubt until they have forgotten the vast sky outside. You, too, were once like that. You became used to limiting yourself by what happened yesterday. But I am calling you to step out of that narrow place. I am calling you to stop seeing yourself through the lens of pain and to begin seeing yourself through the lens of grace. For when you know who you are in me, the invisible chains of insecurity will begin to fall away. The words of condemnation will gradually lose their power. The fears that once controlled you will no longer have authority to rule over your soul. Remember the story of Mephibosheth, the grandson of King Saul. He lived for many years in the land of Lo-Debar, a place of lack and being forgotten. He thought his life had ended in the shadow of the past. But then King David sent for him, not to judge him, but to restore his honor and his position. In a single day, the one who once thought he had no value was invited to eat at the king's table as a son. My beloved child, that story reflects what I desire to do within your heart. I do not want you to continue living as one who has been forgotten. I want you to recognize that you have a seat in my plan. You have a place in my heart. Your value does not come from what you are able to do, but from the fact that you belong to me. The restoration I bring does not begin with outward circumstances. It begins within your soul. Before I change anything around you, I want to heal something within you. There are cracks in your heart that need to be mended. There are memories that need to be laid down at the foot of the cross. There are pains that need to be surrendered back to me. For if the soul is not healed, even when blessings come, it will be difficult for you to fully enjoy them. But when I restore what is within you, everything else will begin to change accordingly. You will begin to notice small things that you once easily overlooked. A peace appearing in a moment when anxiety should have taken over. A new hope being born in your heart even when everything seems unchanged. An unexpected opportunity opening. A meeting taking place at the right time. A word of encouragement arriving at the very moment you need it most. Do not take these things lightly. Many times, I do not work in the loud ways the world expects. I often begin with small seeds and allow them to grow into great trees. As I have taught, the kingdom of God is like the smallest mustard seed. Yet when it grows, it becomes a great tree where many may find shelter. My beloved child, I also want you to let go of the need to be recognized by everyone. There are people who will never understand your journey. There are people who will not see the value I have placed within you. But that does not change the truth about who you are. If I have called you, the doubt of others cannot cancel that calling. If I have loved you, the rejection of others cannot take away that identity. Therefore, do not live by human approval. Live by the affirmation I have given you long ago. My beloved child, I am inviting you to step out from the shadow of the past. Do not carry old chains into the new season I am opening before you. Do not allow past disappointments to continue shaping your expectations of the future. What I have prepared ahead of you is greater than what you lost behind you. What I am building in your life is more secure than what once collapsed. And what I have called you to become is far higher than the limitations you once placed upon yourself. Therefore, lift up your head. Let your heart open before my love. Stop living like someone who is merely trying to survive each day. Begin to live as one who knows they are loved, chosen, and restored. For I do not call you a victim of the past. I call you renewed. I do not call you by the wounds you have carried. I call you by the future I have prepared. And as you walk in that awareness, you will discover that the greatest restoration is not merely recovering what was lost, but rediscovering the very person I created you to become from the beginning. My beloved child, draw your heart closer to me in this moment, for there are things I desire to reveal to you that the noise of the world can never convey. Before you ever uttered your first cry upon this earth, I knew you. I called you by name, and I appointed a purpose for your life. Nothing about you is accidental. Not one detail in your creation is meaningless. Even the voice you carry with you each day is part of my eternal plan. You often look at your voice as something ordinary, but from heaven's perspective, it is a precious instrument I have placed in your hands to accomplish things far greater than you imagine. There have been times when you thought your words were too small to make a difference. You saw others with greater influence, more outstanding gifts, and you wondered whether your own voice had any value at all. But I say to you that value is not determined by volume, but by origin. What I have placed within you was not born from the earth, but from the breath of my very own being. As it is written, the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. Genesis 2:7. From that very breath, you received the ability to communicate life, encouragement, and hope to those I place along your path. I want you to understand that words are not merely sounds. Every word you speak carries a seed. Some words sow life, while others sow discouragement. That is why I taught death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs 18:21. When you use your voice to lift up a soul that is falling, you are cooperating with the work of heaven. When you use words to heal rather than to wound, to bless rather than to curse, you are reflecting my own heart in the midst of this wounded world. Remember the story of the young boy Samuel in the tabernacle. At that time, he was still young and did not yet fully understand the spiritual calling. But in the middle of the night, I called his name. At first, Samuel thought it was the voice of Eli the priest. Only after he was guided did he respond, "Speak, for your servant is listening." From that moment, Samuel's life was changed. What I want you to recognize is not only that Samuel heard my voice, but that he became one who carried my voice to an entire nation. A person who learns to listen will eventually become a person who knows how to communicate truth. I am doing the same within you. Before I use your voice to touch others, I want your heart to learn to listen to my voice more deeply. There are people walking in darkness who do not realize that just one word of encouragement from you could change their day. There are souls weary from disappointment, and I desire to use your very voice to bring them new hope. You do not know everything that is happening within the hearts of others. But I know you do not see the silent battles they are facing. But I see. Therefore, when I prompt you to speak a word of love, send a prayer, or share a testimony of my faithfulness, do not consider it a small thing. Heaven often accomplishes great things through the simplest acts. I also want to awaken you to the way you use your voice toward yourself. There are days when you speak words over yourself that make your soul heavy. You repeat your failures, magnify your weaknesses, and question the value I have placed within you. But my beloved child, if I do not condemn you, why do you continually condemn yourself? If I am still writing the story of your life, why do you act as though everything is already ended? Let my word become the loudest voice in your mind. Remember what is written, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, thoughts of peace and not of disaster. Jeremiah 29:11. What I think about you is always greater than what fear is trying to persuade you to believe. The closer you walk with me, the more you will realize that the gift I have given you is not meant for seeking glory for yourself. Your voice was created to reflect my light, not to draw the light toward yourself. A lamp does not exist to be admired, but to illuminate the path for others. Therefore, do not compare your voice with anyone else's. I did not create two people exactly alike. What I have placed within you is unique. There are hearts that will only be touched by the way you share, by the experiences you have walked through, and by the presence I am building in your life. My beloved child, in the heavenly realms, I am preparing opportunities that you cannot yet see today. I am opening encounters, doors, and appointed moments when your voice will become an instrument to bring life to others. But before that happens, I want you to learn to cherish the gift you already have. Do not take lightly the prayers you offer. Do not take lightly the stories of my faithfulness that you tell. Do not take lightly the words of encouragement you give to the weak. Every word spoken in love is recorded in heaven. Therefore, today, I invite you to walk in a new courage. Let your words become streams of water refreshing dry and weary souls. Let your voice carry the gentleness of grace, the strength of truth, and the warmth of heavenly love. When you do this, you will discover that the gift I have placed within you is not merely an ability to communicate, but a part of your eternal mission. And then, day by day, you will see fulfilled what is written. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. I will use the very voice I have given you to bring healing, hope, and light to the places that need me most. My beloved child, set aside a quiet place within your heart to listen to what I desire to teach you today. There are moments on the journey of faith when a person can no longer continue living as they once did, not because circumstances force them to change, but because their soul begins to hear a deeper call from heaven. I am calling you into a season of new awareness, where you no longer see life only through the eyes of worry or the limitations of the world, but through the light of eternal truth. For before I change the circumstances around you, I often begin by awakening what has been asleep within your soul. Perhaps when you look at the world today, you feel uneasy. You witness continuous upheavals, division, sorrows, and things that cause human hearts to grow weary. But I want you to understand that amid all this chaos, I have not lost my sovereignty. What is happening is not beyond my understanding. On the contrary, it is reminding you of an important truth. This world is not the place where your hope should lay its final foundation. When everything around you changes, I remain the one who never changes. As it is written, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Hebrews 13:8. Therefore, instead of allowing your heart to be swept away by the waves of the times. Anchor your soul in my presence. I do not want you to live in fear of what is happening. What I desire is for you to learn to discern the difference between the panic of the world and spiritual watchfulness. The one who lives in fear sees only danger, but the one who walks with me sees an opportunity for faith to mature. There are times when I allow shaking to take place, not to destroy, but to awaken. When the things you once leaned on become fragile, you will learn to lean on me more deeply. When the securities of the world are no longer certain, you will discover that my arm is still strong enough to uphold you. As my word declares, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. My beloved child, there are trials you have gone through whose meaning you still do not fully understand even today. There were closed doors that wounded your heart. There were prayers that seemed unanswered. But I want you to look back with new eyes. Those things were not merely random events. They were lessons that helped shape the person you are becoming. It was in lonely days that you learned to seek me. It was in seasons of lack that you learned gratitude. It was through disappointments that you learned perseverance. Not one tear is wasted in my hands. Not one pain is meaningless when it is placed under my sovereignty. Remember the story of the prophet Elijah when he fled into the wilderness. After great spiritual victories, he became so exhausted that he asked to die. In his eyes at that moment, everything seemed to be falling apart. But I did not come to him through the storm, the earthquake, or the great fire. I came through a gentle and quiet whisper. It was in that stillness that he received new strength and new direction for the journey ahead. You are the same. Some of the answers you are seeking will not appear amid the noise of the world. But in the moments when you become still before me, sometimes what you need most is not more information, but more of my presence. I am inviting you into a deeper journey of restoration. Not only the restoration of your emotions, but the restoration of the way you see, the way you think, and the way you live. There are wounds that have caused you to question your own worth. There are failures that have caused you to shrink the dreams I once placed in your heart. But I did not create you to live in inferiority or disappointment. I created you with purpose. As it is written, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Ephesians 2:10. You are not the product of chance. You are the result of a divine intention. Therefore, do not allow the past to become a prison that holds your future captive. Let the lessons of yesterday become the foundation for tomorrow, not the chains that keep your feet bound. I am renewing you day by day. Perhaps this process does not happen overnight, but every step you take with me is bringing you closer to healing. Each time you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, each time you choose hope instead of despair, each time you choose prayer instead of surrendering in defeat, your soul is being made new. My beloved child, the most important moment is not some distant day in the future, but this present moment when you decide to open your heart to me. Do not wait until everything is perfect before seeking me. Do not wait until every question is answered before walking in faith. Come to me today with all that you have, including your weaknesses and uncertainties. For I am not looking for perfect people. I am looking for willing hearts. And when you give me the broken pieces of your life, I can create something beautiful far beyond anything you have ever imagined. Therefore, my beloved child, choose to live in grace instead of anxiety, in hope instead of fear, in light instead of darkness. Let your soul rest in my promise. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. John 14:27. A new season is opening before you, not because the world has become perfect, but because your heart is being renewed. And when your soul is restored in me, You will realize that the most precious thing is not that your circumstances have changed, but that you are becoming more and more like the person I destined you to be from the very beginning. My beloved child, there is one thing I want to engrave deeply within your heart. You cannot step fully into the healing I have prepared for you while still holding tightly to the things I am asking you to release. Restoration does not begin when circumstances change. It begins the moment your heart becomes willing to surrender to my guidance. Many people desire to receive peace, yet they do not want to give me the right to lead the way. Many long to be healed, yet they continue holding on to the habits, thoughts, and fears that have wounded them for so long. But my beloved child, true renewal always begins with a yes that rises from the depths of the heart. It is not surrender and weakness, but the trust of one who knows that my arm sees farther than their eyes can see. There will be turns on the road ahead that require you to make choices. The right choice will not always be the easy choice. Sometimes I will lead you on the narrow road instead of the wide one. Sometimes I will ask you to wait when your emotions want to rush forward. Sometimes I will call you to forgive while your heart is still hurting. Yet it is in those very moments that your faith is formed. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Obedience does not cause you to lose your freedom. On the contrary, it rescues you from the invisible chains that fear, pride, and doubt have created. I know there are times when you want to see the whole picture before you take a step. You want to know what lies ahead, and you want to be certain that you will not be hurt again. But my beloved child, if you only walk when everything is clear, you will never learn how to live by faith. Faith is not seeing first and then believing. Faith is trusting, even when you have not yet seen. Remember Abraham, when I called him to leave his homeland. I did not show him the entire journey. I only told him to go. And step by step, I revealed my purpose. It was because of that obedience that he became the father of many nations. What I am looking for in you is not perfection, but a heart willing to follow me, even when it does not yet understand everything. My beloved child, many people think healing is simply the ending of pain, but what I am doing is far deeper than that. I do not only want to remove what has wounded you, I want to recreate the inner person within you. I want to touch the hidden places no one else can see. I want to heal the memories that still bleed, the fears that have not yet been named, and the disappointments that have quietly taken root through the years. For the restoration I give is not like the way the world treats wounds. The world often covers the wound. I heal it at the root. The world helps you forget for a moment. I transform you so that the past no longer has the power to rule over you. Remember the story of Jacob by the Jabbok River. For many years, he lived with inner struggles. He carried shame, fear, and the consequences of choices from his past. But in that dark night, as he wrestled with God, something wondrous happened. I did not merely bless him, I changed his name. From Jacob, the one who always struggled and grasped, he became Israel, the one who wrestled with God and prevailed. Do you see? True restoration is not only a change of circumstance, it is a change of identity. I do not merely want to improve your life. I want to renew you from within, so that you become the person I ordained you to be from the foundation of the world. Therefore, do not fear the trials that still remain on your path. Some trials are not signs that I have abandoned you, but evidence that I am shaping you. The potter must place the clay on the wheel before forming a beautiful vessel. Gold must pass through the fire before it becomes pure. Faith is the same. Every difficulty you face can become a place where I reveal my power if you continue to trust me. As it is written, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:3. What makes you weary today may be the very instrument I use to prepare you for something greater tomorrow. I do not want you to live as someone who is merely trying to survive each day. I have called you into freedom, not the kind of freedom that depends on favorable circumstances, but the freedom that comes from knowing you belong to me. There are people who possess many things and yet remain imprisoned by anxiety. There are people who are successful in the eyes of the world, yet their souls are empty. But when you walk in my presence, you will discover a freedom that no power can steal away. It is freedom from the condemnation of the past, freedom from fear of the future, and freedom from the burden of having to prove your worth to others. For your worth has long been established in my love. My beloved child, the peace I give is not like the temporary comfort the world offers. My peace can remain even in the middle of the storm. It can stay within your heart even when circumstances have not yet changed. It does not depend on what is happening outwardly, but is born from knowing that I am still holding all things. As Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you." John 14:27. When you stay close to me, that peace will seep into every thought, every decision, and every breath you take. Do not think that you must carry this journey by yourself. From the beginning, I never intended for you to walk alone. When you are weary, I will be your strength. When you are weak, I will be your refuge. When you stumble, I will lift you up. When you are confused, I will illuminate the path before you. For I am not a God who stands far away merely observing your life. I am the Father who walks with you in every step. I see the battles that others do not see. I understand the pain you have never spoken aloud, and I am working in places your eyes cannot yet perceive. So then, my beloved child, continue walking in obedience and trust. Do not allow old disappointments to make you reject the new things I am preparing. Do not allow old wounds to make you doubt my love. Every day you choose to draw closer to me is a day you move deeper into true restoration. I am leading you to a place where your soul is no longer controlled by the past, where your heart rests in grace, and where you realize that the most precious thing is not that every hardship disappears, but that you are transformed in the midst of those hardships. And when you look back, you will understand that everything I have done was meant to bring you closer to my heart. For that is where true healing, freedom, and abundant life begin.